Welcome to Wichita's Biz That Is on KGPT. I'm Tim Witzman, president of the Wichita Independent Business Association, and I have two guests this morning. The first is Trish Brasted, who is president and CEO of the Wichita Technology Corporation, and back for a return visit, Gary Oborny, the owner of Occidental Management. Glad to have you both here.
We're glad to be here.
Glad to be here, absolutely.
Trish, my suspicion is 2% of the people in the county know what the Wichita Technology Corporation is. Can you tell us about it?
Sure, absolutely, and you're right. Wichita Technology Corporation was started about almost 20 years ago now as part of an initiative of the state of Kansas that really kind of started, Tim, as you know, as we just discussed, as part of the Economic Development Plan in the 80s when the Kansas Lottery was instituted to really focus on technology and knowledge-based economic development and innovation. So Wichita Technology Corporation was started. I actually came on about a year into its inception, so I've been around doing this for a long time. And in a nutshell, basically, we're an organization that supports technology-based entrepreneurship. I have mirrored organizations both in Lawrence and Manhattan because the thought was to create a business environment and a virtual incubation system that helped the Regents universities take advantage of the intellectual property that was being created at the universities. Part of that was to take the business knowledge, put business folks around that intellectual property and ideas and innovation, and then also create some funds. Entrepreneurs need resources and tools. They also need money. So we put together a couple seed funds. We have a seed fund in Hutch, one in Wichita, one in southeast Kansas, to actually make investments in those technology companies.
How have those done? I mean, in some places, some states, those became problematic.
Yeah, and you know, in the public arena, the public perception has been we don't want to pick winners and losers, and they have a lot of trouble putting public money into private industry. It really, from a Kansas perspective, was very successful. A lot of times it was some of the very first money in. The state actually had a program that matched our local funds that actually helped do proof of concept development, which is the hardest money to find because you're not going to get bank financing. It's even the hardest money to fund from an equity perspective. But the state put money in. Our funds, and believe it or not, we started our fund about 10 years ago. It was sort of the second piece to what we were doing. We've returned about 4.5 times our money on that fund. So for a startup fund, it's been very successful. So we're hoping it's one of the biggest assets I think that we have in Wichita is having those funds available for the really early stuff.
What really has changed? I mean, a lot of things have changed in that more than 25 years, but the focus of WTC. Yeah.
Well, what's happened is, the times have changed. The economy worldwide and globally has changed, and so did the organizations around the state. We all sort of morphed into organizations that focused on our certain expertise. In Wichita, our business and our constituents were a little different than the other places in Lawrence and Manhattan, only because we're in the biggest city. So we focused on the community at large. So that focus shifted over time. The state shifted its strategic focus with regards to economic development, so that changed the budget, that changed funding for all of these organizations. It forced those of us who were running the commercialization centers to become entrepreneurs ourselves. The entity that was actually sort of the cohesive overarching parent organization that actually started us in the beginning was dissolved a couple of years ago. KTEC was dissolved. We became a closer unit with the Department of Commerce and the Regents. Our program now at Wichita Technology Corp and the others is called Innovation Growth Programs. So it's a sign of the times to change and be flexible with what's been successful in state-based knowledge-based economic development. And so same with our organization. Our team is a little different. Our focus is different. We still focus on technology-based stuff, but we've also not only in the early stage and startup, but second stage companies. And I think that's important for Wichita because we have a lot of what we call second stage companies and a lot of manufacturing and a lot of high growth type of things. So I think as we, meaning my board, and Department of Commerce and those, we set forth the strategy for the next couple of years. I think things will continue to change. And we're looking to sort of change the fact that we were been state funded in the beginning. Now we're revenue generated and revenue based. But we're also looking to enhance our partnerships with our local the public side, with the city, the county, organizations like yours, member associations that are touching entrepreneurs every day, because that's what's important, is that we're making sure that we're filling the gaps that they've got and meeting the needs of their, the things that they need to start and grow their businesses successfully.
Okay. We have a new president at Wichita State. We had him speak to WIBA back about May of last year. And he seems to be interested in things that are along the lines you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Can you talk about that connection?
Absolutely. WSU was actually one of our founding entities. However, tech transfer and commercialization wasn't necessarily a focus or a priority of the university. Dr. Bardot has a different strategy. I'm very excited about the things that he brings to the table. I'm very excited about where WTC and our partnership with the university lies going forward, because I think their partnership along with us will take advantage of all of the assets that we've created here for the benefit of this community. So it's very exciting.
Where do you interface most with them? What's that point of contact?
Sure. Center for Entrepreneurship mainly. We partner with them on a regular basis for a lot of programming, for our programming, their programming. We interface at the engineering school because we're technology based, and then in the tech transfer and commercialization side too. So we've got lots of interfaces at the university, and now it's about figuring out sort of as they lay out their new strategies for the next 5 or 6 years, and then my board looking at what our strategies are and figuring out what's complementary. So I think that we're going to hear a lot more about university-based technology innovation advancement in Wichita.
Now, are you located at the university?
No, we were located on the campus of the university until about 6 years ago when we moved off campus because of the nature of the type of business and the people we have in and out. As you can imagine, parking and getting in and off the campus was a challenge.
Parking at a public university?
Exactly. So, but we value our partnership with them greatly and look forward to a long, successful relationship with the university.
All right, we're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back with more of Wichita's Biz That Is.